And we went to a number of places where we went through these water splashes, and they were quite deep in places, to the point where the last one, you can see the color of my spotlights against the red of the water splashing over the front of the bumper. So it was significant going through all of those water splashes, but it was great fun. We had a great time. And I think at the time the guys thought, this is it, this has made the trip. But there was better things to come. So we headed out of the Dry Riverbed and we cut off where the Trans-Tirol starts, which is the trail that we were doing on Wikilocs. And I'll put a link in the description below of that entire trail that starts in Teruel, goes all the way up through the Monograss, goes up to Andorra and then to Bardenas Realis. I think in total it's around about 1400 miles. It's a long trip, and I think it claims to do about 70% off-road. So the diversity of landscape that you come across here is you can go from the likes of Bardenas Realis in the desert, you can go to the Monograss desert, you can go to the plains, but you can also go to pine forests. And up north of Teruel is where is a massive pine forest, and you do go up in elevation. And as you go up, that's where we decided to sort of wild camp for the night. And we managed to get ourselves off the trail and hide away for the night. But again, it rained. There was a big thunderstorm that rolled through, and we were back in our tents quite early as the rain sort of came hammering down on us. It did stop for a while, but it got pretty cold up there and it got wet. And so overnight, you can definitely see in the morning when we woke up, it was still damp, it was still cold. And it took a while for the sort of the mist and everything as the sun came up and the heat started burning off the mist on the top of the plains of where we were. So our plan for the next day, and I'm losing track of days, I think this was Thursday, was to start heading back north again to eventually come up here into Salt. So we got up early, we got packed up, we got moving, and there was a trail that I'd done in the Defender. It sort of winds through the pine forests. And as it goes down in elevation, it comes to an area which is like a campsite. And I think a lot of people can camp there overnight. It's free. There's some picnic tables, etc. So you can wild camp there legally. But off of that is a trail that I've seen that the Trans-Tirol does. And I did that into Defender probably about 3 years ago. It's one of these trails that when you look at it, it doesn't look that difficult. It just keeps on going up and up and up. And unfortunately, as we all been talking about, it's very difficult with the cameras you have set up on these vehicles to see how steep and slippery some of these trails really are. But knowing that I'd done it in the Defender, I felt quite comfortable that the old 322 can do it. So I stuck a GoPro on the front, put the thing in low range, stuck it in mud and ruts, and up we went. gradually, as you can see, nice and smooth, nice and controlled, the L32 worked its way up. There were a couple of pins to the trees that overhanging. It clearly had not been driven in a while. But gradually, as you work your way up, it probably took 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I guess, from the bottom of when we started to get on top of the plains when we popped up out of the pine forests. But it was a brilliant bit of track. Everybody absolutely loved it. It's a challenge. Not a lot of four-wheel drives could get up it without some difficulty. It was slippery, and because not a lot of vehicles have gone up it, you end up in this situation where you're really sort of trying to build the track or drive the track and make the track as you go up. So those at the back were beginning to see a lot of the stuff that was churned up as they worked their way up. But it was fantastic. And I'll put a little section in here to show you exactly where it is. I would not recommend doing that on your own. And I know I did it in the Defender. It was sight unseen, and I probably shouldn't have done it. Because if you do get into trouble, there's very, very limited places where you can actually turn around. But it's a wonderful bit of track. And that track leads all the way up back onto the higher elevations of where we were in the mountains above Teruel in those pine forests. And getting out is quite interesting because there are a lot of washouts. And I knew one of them. I've been through it, the Defender. The Defender again was easy, 90. Departure angle, approach angle, easy. But we did have some concerns about whether we could get this thing through, being that it's quite long. The only problem I had was on the way in, so we just guided our way through. Yeah. You can see here from the footage, just needed to make sure that I got my nose in, and there were a few rocks that had to get moved out. There's a few little scrapes in the plastic valance in the lower part of the bumper, but nothing major, and it got through it. You can see as it goes through here, goes through that washout, how much articulation is on the rear. And you can see that it's pushing itself down. Now I was on 3 wheels, so on the other side, and you can see here, I was actually teetering on 3 wheels, so the front wheel was up. But it sat there, figured out what to do, and off it went, smooth and calm. And as we worked our way back down the other side of that mountain, it got pretty tight. And again, running a larger vehicle or a longer vehicle as opposed to a 90, you've just got to be cognizant that when you make those turns, that if there are trees either side, that you don't end up bashing panels. But it made it all the way down nice and comfortably.